So here we are on Thursday in the Music City, right? So we've got music on our minds, music in our hearts, and so we're about to enjoy a 4-part harmony. So we're going to have 4 unique voices singing from the same sheet of middle-level music. And here to help us introduce these 4 unique voices are Kiera English and Oliver Egan from Isaac Linton Middle School right here in Nashville, Tennessee.
One more time.
Hello everyone, my name is Kiera English. I am a student ambassador at Isaac Linton Middle School. Today I would like to introduce to you a phenomenal woman that was appointed in May of 2011 and is the superintendent of schools for the Metropolitan School District of the Washington Township. She has earned 3 post-secondary degrees, a Bachelor's of Science from Ball State University, a Master's of Art from Butler University, and a Doctor's of Philosophy from Purdue University. Please welcome Dr. Nikki C. Woodson to the stage. He is well known for his creative, entertaining, and outrageous, energetic style. His workshops, seminars, and keynotes not only motivate and inspire teachers, but also help them to develop practical ways to become more creative. He is a popular presenter at many state conferences and a school U.S. history teacher at West Hill High School in San Diego. Please welcome Dr. Dave Burgess.
Hello, and well, good morning. My name is Oliver Egan, and I'll be introducing to you today 2 people. One is a truly wonderful woman, Kim Campbell. She has served in the metaphorical trenches of teaching for almost 20 years. That by itself is an achievement on its own. She is thoroughly involved in her school, as well as being a positive behavior intervention specialist coordinator for said school. She is also the founder of SOAR, a program basically created to help address the achievement gap, which, it's not a big deal at all, And in 2007, again, no big deal, chosen by Fox News as one of the top teachers of the year, while also being chosen by the Minnesota School District as being the teacher of the year, at least for the middle schools. Welcome, Kim Campbell. Next up is Dr. Cedrick Gray, who is currently the superintendent of Jackson Public Schools in Mississippi, where he is revered as a figure of change and reform. When he was a middle school teacher, Dr. Gray was credited for single-handedly turning around 2 inner-city schools, having been on both sides of the schooling spectrum. That is an achievement, to say the least. Dr. Gray was presented at countless conferences, including the one on the national level. Everybody, Dr. Cedrick Gray.
There it is. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap 2 times. If you can hear me, clap once. Now everybody clap your hands. How low can you go? Can you go down low? Great morning, AMLE. My name is Cedrick Gray. I am lead teacher for Jackson Public Schools, also known as superintendent, where we are building stronger schools together. As a matter of fact, I got to go ahead. Give it up for Jackson Public Schools in the house. And I believe that, just like Drew, that good is 2 things. That first of all, good is the enemy of great. And I believe that whatever's going on, you can speak a thing into existence. I believe in the power of the spoken tongue. So every day, every time I get an opportunity, I don't say good morning, I say great morning. Is there anybody in here? Sometimes you've had a rough day, and sometimes you really just got to say what it really needs to be. If it's a bad day or a tough time, I think if you just stand up and declare before God and everybody, today is going to be a great day. So repeat after me, today is going to be a great day. One more time, today is going to be a great day. I am so glad you came. I wanted to tell you today a story about 3 teachers that touched me in 3 ways. And the story begins somewhere around when I was about 5 years old, circa 1976. And I grew up with my mother and grandmother, and we lived in a home with my siblings and 1 or 2 of my uncles. We were in a small space, and, you know, we really didn't have a whole lot. But I didn't really realize that we didn't have a whole lot. As a matter of fact, some people could have considered us poor, but I didn't realize we didn't have a whole lot until we moved to the big city of Memphis, Tennessee. And I began to attend a school called Sheffield Elementary School. And one really cute girl walked up to me one day, and we were both in the same grade at the time, and she said, "You know, you're kind of cute." I said, "Yeah, I know, you know." She said, "But I have no idea what kind of shoes those are you have on. And what exactly is a husky jean?" Somebody say, "Girl, that ain't right." No, we didn't have a whole lot by some measures, but you know one thing, my grandmother made sure of one thing, that we were rich in love and in relationships. As a matter of fact, she took the time each and every day, just like a grandmother would, take the head of the child in her hands and say, "Son, I love you, and you're going to be somebody someday." And that was a powerful thing to me. As a matter of fact, I had a praying grandmother. And my grandmother, I believe, every time she said that to me, that she also said she petitioned God to send an angel on my behalf to be with me, to guide me, and to direct me so that I didn't lose hope and so that I didn't go astray. I mean, I had a real praying grandmother. She had faith. She had a foundation. She was firm in her belief, and she was going to do whatever it took to make sure that I was a success. And can I get a witness? So, 38 years later, and I'm standing on this stage, and even last week, I hear the voice of my grandmother, because I believe my grandmother saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. So when she said the words, "You're going to be somebody someday," I believe at the very same moment, she was simultaneously petitioning God to send me an angel to be by my side. And I can hear that voice today, and I can also, as I look back over these 43 years, I can see those angels. And those angels came in the form of a teacher. 3 teachers that touched my life in 3 ways. And the first teacher was Miss Teamer. Miss Teamer was a kindergarten teacher at E.A. Harrell School in Millington, Tennessee. And Miss Teamer saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Miss Teamer saw promise. Somebody say promise. Miss Teamer saw promise in me. As a matter of fact, I was a little bit of an antsy fella. I was bright. I would finish my work early. And so she asked my parents about promoting me from kindergarten into the 1st grade. Right there in the middle of kindergarten, I was going to go on to the 1st grade. She felt I had the skills and the talent to do all of that. And my dad said, "Oh, y'all don't know that little boy like I know him. He's a little too busy for that. He's not quite mature enough, so let's keep him in here, Miss Teamer, but I'd be happy to take a promotion for him." And so the promotion wasn't a promotion from kindergarten to 1st grade, but in kindergarten, I got my first promotion. I became changed from a regular student to a teacher's pet. Raise your hand if you've been a teacher's pet. Isn't that the greatest promotion you could receive? Miss Teamer saw some things in me that I didn't see in myself. She saw promise. So when she interacted with little Cedrick and he was busy and running around and he wouldn't always listen, instead of punishing him, instead of sending him to the principal's office, instead of doing those things that she could have done, instead she embraced the promise in me and saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Somebody said she saw promise. The second angel that came in the form of a teacher was my middle school 7th grade civics teacher. Her name is Barbara K. Scott, and she taught at Wooddale Middle School in Memphis, Tennessee. Miss Scott saw something in me that I didn't see it myself. She saw potential. Now, you got potential, and you got potential, and you got potential. But Miss Scott seriously saw some potential in me. She saw an opportunity to take those talents that were untapped and raw and make it into something so that one day I could touch the lives of others who couldn't do it for themselves. She saw potential. Miss Scott took advantage of every opportunity to bring that potential out in me. So in the 7th grade, yes, I was still teacher's pet. As a matter of fact, I was in my English class with Miss Hansborough at the time, and Miss Hansborough noticed that potential in me as well, so she would send me on an errand when my work was done. She said, I need you to take this particular piece of paper down to Miss Scott's room and get it signed and bring it back. Now, I'm at a crossroads because there's some potential for some stuff to go on. But instead, I did what I was asked to do. I walked down the hall and took a left and walked right into Miss Scott's room, and I walked up to her desk and put that piece of paper down, and I said, Miss Hansborough said, sign this. And I walked toward the door, and sure enough, Miss Barbara K. Scott did what she does, and she did so quite well. She said, hold up, boy. You know better than that. Now, you all don't know Miss Barbara K. Scott, but Miss Barbara K. Scott was the type of teacher who was firm but fair. She was never mean or nasty, but she always got her point across. And she said, Cedrick, I need you to go back to the door and do it again. Now, the thing about Miss Barbara K. Scott, that she was real good, just like the rest of us in this room, real good at classroom management and rules. And so she sent me back to the door. I sure enough went back to the door, and she said, now you know what to do. So I stood at the door and I knocked. Excuse me, Miss Barbara K. Scott. And she'd look up smiling as if it was our first visit. Yes? I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. I'm Cedrick, and I'm from Miss Hansborough's classroom. And she asked me to bring this piece of paper to you to get signed. And she said, well, sure. Come right on in. And so I'd come in, and sure enough, she would sign the paper and send it back. And I'd grab it and get ready to walk out. And she said, And we all knew what the meant. It meant you left something out. Where are your manners, young man? And I say, I'm so sorry, Miss Barbara K. Scott. Thank you so much. I'll let Miss Hansborough know that you've signed it and that I was obedient. She said, thank you, sir. You're going to be somebody someday. Miss Barbara K. Scott saw something in me that I did not see in myself. She saw potential. Somebody say, she saw potential. Now, there was one more teacher, one more angel in the form of a teacher, and it happened right across the street several years later at Wooddale High School. In my 10th grade honors English class, it was taught by Lucy B. Stansberry. Now, Lucy B. Stansberry saw something in me that I did not see in myself. Lucy B. Stansberry saw purpose in me. Somebody said purpose. She saw the purpose in me. She saw things that I could not see. She knew that I was on a course of success, a course of greatness, a course of mastery, and she did not want to disrupt that. Somehow she heard from my grandmother's whispering voice to God to say, somebody's got to get a hold of that boy and make sure he goes in the right direction, because ultimately I've got a plan for his life. And so Miss Lucy B. Stansberry, on the first day of class of 10th grade, I was walking in clowning with my boys. That's what we call each other. We call it boys. We're bouncing around in there, and we're laughing and playing, and she looks up from the desk, and there were 5 or 6 of us around, but she calls my name. She says, Cedrick Gray, And at that very moment, my eyes got about this big. My jaw dropped down to the floor. I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, boy, come here. You know better than that. So she called me over to her desk, and I leaned into her real closely. And she said, Miss Gray, I know your family. And you're about one phone call away from a good long punishment if you don't get your act together. Now, I need you to go over there, sit down, and get focused, young man, because we've got work to do. Now, if you knew Miss Lucy B. Stansberry, the only thing left to say was, yes, ma'am, and go on back to your seat. And so that's what I did. I went back to my seat, but on the way back, I started to thinking a little bit, why did she choose me among the other 4 or 5 that were standing around me? She chose me for 2 reasons. First of all, I told y'all I got a praying grandmother, and somehow those prayers got answered, and that angel was assigned to my life. The second reason is because she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. She saw I had purpose. Somebody said purpose. Now, I'm wondering, I know you're wondering, oh, this is a nice story. Why are you telling us the story of 3 teachers that touch your life in 3 ways? Well, I'm telling you this reason for 2. I'm telling you for 2 reasons. First of all, so that you would have an intimate look in the life of Cedrick Gray. That and $4.15 will get you a cup of coffee down here in the lobby. But more importantly, so that you could know that not only did I have a praying grandmother, but brothers and sisters, we have praying families. We have mamas and daddies and uncles and aunts and TTs and nanas and mama and them who are praying every single day that we will do what's right for their children. They're praying every day that we would not begin to send our children off to the principal's office, send them away when we're impatient with them, sit them down when we don't feel like being bothered with them. But they are asking us as middle-level educators to do what you do every day. Command respect in your classroom, but more importantly, find the promise, the potential, and the purpose in every child. It is your responsibility. It is my responsibility not to cast off our children, but to let them know and to understand that they are the head and not the tail. They are above and not beneath. They are overcomers in this world. It is our job. It is our job to take the little Cedricks in our classrooms and turn them upside down and push them to a point till they succeed, even if they don't feel like it. It is our responsibility to see something in them that they may not see in themselves. Welcome to AMLE 2014. I hope you have an exciting conference. But remember this, it is your responsibility to do this for our children. It's our children and our choice. Thank you very much.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is.
Is this something I have on? Good morning, everyone. I am humbled to be standing here in front of some of the greatest middle school consultants that the world has to offer. And I want to give a special shout out to Jack Burkmeyer and Debbie Silver for being my greatest teacher up here today. And as a classroom teacher of 20 years, still doing what I love, I am honored to be in front of you. Because you see, first, I was afraid. I was petrified. Kept thinking, I could never teach those kids in junior high. But then I spent so many nights thinking up activities and I grew strong. And now I think I'll get along, and so I packed at record pace. I told myself not to cry and slap some water on my face. I could have broken down and stayed. I could have said, no way, but I wanted you to see you gotta be all that you can be. Yeah, I'll survive. Oh, as long as I know how to plan, I know I'll stay alive. I've got all those grades to give. I got no money to live, but I'll survive. I will survive. Hey, hey, it took all the strength I had not to fall apart. You see, my class of 36, well, that's just the start. I got some on IEPs and a few are EBD, and then there's me. My staff would agree I'm ADD, and so we're off to teach our best. And I just know that in the end that you'll amaze all the rest. I've had fun singing to you, but it's time to say adieu. So remember, I say remember, we will survive. Whoa! Whoa! Am I done now? Hey, you know, I know that to survive as a middle-level educator, the first and foremost is we have got to laugh at what happens in front of us. I mean, people, we see things, we hear things, and we smell things that no one should have to deal with. You know, just the other day I had this kid walk up to me and say, Miss Campbell, what's your last name? She was part of the gifted program. Or the time I walked into the office and here stood Alexis with an ice pack on her head. And I said, Alexis, what happened? And she says, she takes the ice pack down and she says, Miss Campbell, it was PE. And I think I've damaged the moneymaker. I thought to myself, honey, you better stay in school. You better stay in school, you know. Or, you know, one thing we love about middle school kids is they are brutally honest. Brutally honest. And so one year, I decided to cut my hair super short during the school year. That was my first mistake. So I'm walking down the hallway, and I see Larice. And I have a great relationship with Larice. And I say, hey, Larice, what do you think of my hair? And she stops, and she puts both hands on her hips. And she looks at me, and she says, we've been meaning to talk to you about that. And I thought, wow! And then she proceeds to say, can I touch it? Well, I'm in education, so I thought, okay, so I leaned over. She tapped me on the top of the head, hands back on her hips, and she says, just what we figured. Too much product. Woo! Man, I'm telling you, we gotta laugh, we gotta laugh. But you know what? We also have to laugh with each other. I think it's so important that we laugh with each other as colleagues and as staff and as a family. And I will tell you that it's February in Minnesota, where I'm from, and it's dark and cold. And we were having a team meeting, and I decided, let's just come together and share funny stories that have happened to us as middle school teachers, okay? And so we're sitting there, and this veteran teacher, we get to the end, and she says, I've never shared this story with anyone, but I'm gonna share it now in the spirit of having a good time. She said, it was open house. I was getting my room ready. She said, I knew I was going to have a lot of parents there. And I had this projector that would not stay down. She said, but I wasn't worried about it. I took a string. I tied it to the handle. I put a paper clip on the end of the string. I pounded a nail in the wall, and I put it down and hooked it there. I was good to go. She goes home. She said, I went home. I got all dressed up. I got a great, gorgeous top on, this flowing skirt. All was great. I get to open house. I turn to welcome everyone. I realize my screen's not down, not to panic. I come over, she said, I pull it down, I hook it on the nail, I turn around to welcome my staff. When the screen flies up, the paper clip grabs her skirt and shoots it straight up over her head. Yeah, visualize that. So I'm sitting in this meeting, and I'm like, what did you do? Oh my gosh, what did you do? And she said, well, that was what was so odd. I was stuck with my skirt over my head, and all the parents just stood there. So she said, the only thing I could think of to do was to say, welcome. Welcome. You know, I think she took anticipatory sets to a whole nother level. Wow. Wow, I'm telling you. But you know what? We also need to laugh with ourselves and laugh at ourselves when things happen to us in the classroom. And I'll never forget. And for the veteran women in the room, you'll remember this. For the young women in the room, you won't forget when it happens. And for the men in the room, I'm sure you've heard about it. So it's May in Minnesota, and I have on no sleeves, and I'm up here teaching. And I direct my students to the smartboard, like this. I said, hey, you guys, and all of a sudden, this thing starts shaking. Ah! And all I could think of to do was this. Ah! Ah! And the kids were like, what is it? What is it? I said, what is this? And the kid, and I'm not kidding, this is what a kid did. He looked at me, he leaned over and he says, my grandma has one of those. I did not pass him. And I'm telling the truth right now. It's so important that we take the time to laugh with each other, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. But I also know that middle school teachers survive because we learned a long time ago that if we build strong, positive relationships with kids, that everything else will fall into place. Okay? Everything else will fall into place. But here's the deal. Relationships don't just happen. You got to go out and make them happen. If that was the case, that relationships just happened, I would not be single and bitter. Call me. I've had my eye on you since I walked in here. 9, 5, are you writing this down? But relationships are so very, very important. So I want to give you just a few things that I've tried that seems to work. First of all, I know most of all of us here greet our kids at the door. I think that's great. But I want you to add another layer to that. I want you to pick a different kid every day to stand at the door with you. And so when they come in, they say hello to you, they say hello to the student, and off they go. Because we know that some kids come to our schools every single day, and not a single person has said anything to them. What a great way to build community amongst your kids, okay? The second thing I want you to think about, too, is when you're doing your PowerPoints and your flip charts or whatever it is you're doing, okay, just out of nowhere, throw in a picture of you like at prom. Or I just did this yesterday. I just did this the other day, right, okay? And I threw this one in here. I'm teaching about something, I can't remember what it was, and boom, I popped this up there. Ah! Lord, now be prepared for, whoa! I did this the other day, and a kid said to me, man, Miss Campbell, you've come a long way. I said, I like you. You get lots more points. Okay? Better yet, take out your 8th grade picture and charge them $1 to see it. You can have some extra spending money. But we also know that in order to build relationships with kids, right? In order to build relationships with kids, we got to share a little bit of ourselves with them. Okay? Not all the details, but some of the details. And so I decided about 10 years ago to get a dog. And this is her. Okay? And so I decided to get this dog, and I named her. I said, whenever I get a dog, I'm going to name her Toby. So I'd like to introduce you to Toby. But I said to the kids, I said, you get to pick her middle name. Ladies and gentlemen, please meet Toby Juan Kenobi. Campbell the third. There she is, there she is. So we know that building relationships are important. We also know that we need to have fun with our kids and play with our kids and do fun things with them. So we're going to have a little fun today. So I need everything off your lap so that you can stand up and sit down. Okay, so I need everything off your lap so you can stand up and sit down. And I'm going to sing a song to you, because I do like to sing. Okay? And when you hear the letter B, I want you to stand up. When you hear it again, I want you to sit down. Turn to your neighbor and say what letter we're going to be listening for. Okay. When you hear the letter B, stand up. When you hear it again, sit down. So here we go. My bunny lies over the ocean. My bunny lies over the sea. My bunny lies over the ocean. So bring, that's a B, people. Back. That's another one. Bunny to me. Bring back, bring back. Oh, that's not a B. Bring back my Bonnie to me, my Bonnie lies over the ocean, my Bonnie lies over the sea, my Bonnie lies over the ocean, so bring back my Bonnie to me. Woo! I was doing this one conference somewhere, and we were doing, I had, not this many people, but the one woman was standing up when we were all sitting down. Through the entire song. I just couldn't stand it. I finally went up to her and says, I'm sorry, ma'am, but what do you teach? And she said, special ed. Wow. Wow. But here's the deal. We know that relationships are important with kids. We know that. Because in all my 20 years plus of teaching middle school kids, I've never had a student come back to me and say this. You know, when you taught me about mitosis, I couldn't stop thinking of my cells. No, they come back to us and tell us that when you listened to me when my parents were going through a divorce, you helped me. That's how important relationships are. That's how important they are. So what I want to ask of you today is this. When you go back next week to go back to your classrooms, will you be that adult that will advocate for that child when everyone else at the table has given up? I think you will. Will you be the one that has high expectations for all kids, but you'll help them get there? I think you will. You see, our kids come to us in survival mode all the time. They come hungry, they come homeless, but many of them come just to see you. Will you survive? I think you will. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Today we go. Love somebody, kill somebody. We go. Bring somebody, kill somebody. Today we go. Touch somebody, love somebody. We go. Catch somebody, let go of somebody.
Good morning, good morning. I have to pause before I start to talk about this thing called now by saying a huge congratulations to my brother, my friend, and my colleague, Dr. Cedrick Gray. Give it up for him. And then the very talented Kim Campbell. And I will also share a little confession. You see, last night we came into this space to get the logistics worked out, and we ran through a dry run-through of this program so it could be perfect for you. And they said, Nikki, we're going to put you on right after the humorous singer and right before the pirate. So that was news to me, so I spent most of last night reworking my material because I went out and bought these tap shoes so I could compete on stage here today. I am honored to be on stage with all of these colleagues and in this room with middle-level educators. The top in the nation are in this room. And my task today is to talk to you about the power of right now. In my life, I have had many instances, stories, and experiences that have given me this concept of the power of now. And it's always come from other people to empower and inspire me. And that is my job here today, to inspire your heart to think about the time being right now. You see, yesterday's already gone. You traveled here, you made it. Tomorrow is unknown. All we have surrounding us right now is this presence, this time, this now. So I'd like to spend a few minutes and talk to you about that. You see, I'm the proud superintendent of an urban public school district in Indianapolis, Indiana. Public education. I'm a product of public education, and I'm proud to have spent my entire career in public education. See, in my urban school district, 6 out of every 10 kids qualifies for free and reduced lunch. We have 81 native languages represented amongst our student body. We are very rich with diversity. It's what makes us who we are. About 5.5 years ago, we needed something big to transform teaching and learning. And we began to investigate. Teachers went to professional development. We came around the table and had conversation, and that big piece was going to be International Baccalaureate, IB. And we said, let's go IB educators in the room. We said to ourselves, well, there's different models of how we can do this. We saw it across the country. We could choose a couple of schools to have IB. We could have people pay money to attend the IB school. We could set it up just to have it at our secondary school. But when we sat back and we talked about transforming teaching and learning together, we said every child is worthy of this rich experience. So when we began this quest of IB for all 13,000 children in my school district, we didn't have a model to go from. There was no one else that they said, oh yes, they've successfully launched this. Please go see this district-wide implementation effort. But if we had said, wow, well, let's wait for someone else to do that effort, let's wait until we can go visit somewhere to do that, we wouldn't be where we are today, which is, advanced 5.5 years later, a fully authorized IB World District in an urban public school district. As educators, we came together and we said, if not now, then when? And if not us, then who? And we took on this beast of transforming our teaching and learning process, and we are thrilled to be one of few worldwide public school districts offering IB to every student in every school. So I do want to talk to you about this power of now and this concept of if not now, when, and if not you, who. And I'd like to do that through two personal stories of two people who have touched my life. Meet Tatum. Tatum is in one of my middle schools. She's in the middle years program for IB, and she has, as you can tell, an infectious smile. She has a sweet spirit about her, and she sings like a bird. And if she walked into your middle school classroom, you would think, wow, Tatum's got the whole package. She's got solid grades, she's got good parents, she's involved in lots of activities, she's got a strong social life. But you have to go back in order to understand where Tatum is today. You see, when I knew her at the age of 6, she was diagnosed with cancer of the femur. And she endured 18 months of chemo treatments, 3 surgeries, in and out of hospitals constantly, all while still going to one of my elementary schools. She exited that experience cancer-free, and we were so happy about that. But then 18 months later, cancer came back to her right lung. She endured the same treatments for this second occurrence of cancer. A year of chemo, treatments, in and out of hospitals. And what happened when she emerged from that experience? Was she bitter? Was she angry? Did she say, cancer stole my entire childhood? No, she did not. She came out with an idea to help others. So what Tatum did, she had this big idea in her mind about what she wanted to do after she exited her second time of having cancer, still in elementary school, mind you. She said, I want to do something to give back. But in order to do this, she needed money. So she started this, what she calls Tatum's White Party. And Tatum's White Party started out several years ago in her backyard, where family and friends came to her backyard for a white party, white signifying purity from cancer. And they gave money to help her launch her idea. Advance to the picture you see that was taken 2 months ago. The annual Tatum's White Party was held in one of the largest venues we have in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yes, it's the court where the Pacers play NBA basketball. She had nearly 1,000 supporters in attendance, major corporate sponsors of companies coming together with Tatum, and she launched this big idea. She is now a full non-for-profit organization. You can see her on the website for Tatum's Bags of Fun. What's that idea, you may ask? What way is she giving back? Well, as I shared with you, she was in hospitals for years throughout her elementary years, and she wanted to improve that experience for students. So her organization is called Tatum's Bags of Fun. And you can see here she's in delivery of those bags to the hospital in which she spent so much time. Her goal was to make sure that every child admitted to that hospital for cancer treatments, every child received a Tatum's bag of fun. And you may think, well, that's cute. They get some crayons and a coloring book and a book bag. No, no, no. Tatum's vision was bigger than that. Every single book bag is valued at $500 for that child. It is full with the highest technology, age-appropriate activities to put a smile on that child's face, to help pass their time while they're in the hospital. And every child right now admitted to that hospital for cancer treatments gets a Tatum's bag of fun. But what if Tatum had that idea swirling around in her head and she said, well, maybe I'll tackle that when I grow up. Or I really haven't had a childhood, I just want to go be a kid for a while and maybe I'll do something about that idea later. She wouldn't be making kids happy right now. What if she said, well, a grown-up can take that on? That's not for me to do. But Tatum didn't do that. She said, if not now, when? And if not me, who? And she is an inspiration to her proud superintendent and all of us in Washington Township who support her. You can go to the website and check out Tatum's Bags of Fun. We're very, very proud of her. Meet my next gentleman, Tom. Tom is a gentleman who you may think, wow, she chose this picture to portray at a big conference like this. Well, when I told Tom I wanted to share his story to people, I didn't tell him how many people because he wouldn't let me. I just said, I want to share your story. I said, but I need a picture. The next day he came back to me and he said, Dr. Woodson, I couldn't find a picture of just me. I said, you've got to be kidding me. You don't have a selfie, a profile picture, or anything? And he said, no, I don't. So I dug up this picture. Tom is in the orange shirt and the shorts, and his back is to you. And this picture was perfect because it portrays him perfectly. He is an unassuming gentleman. He doesn't want the spotlight ever. He's not doing what he's doing for awards or accolades, and he likes to just blend off into the background. But he is having monumental impact in my community because he also had an idea, and he said, if not now, when? If not me, who? Last spring, he came into my office, said, Dr. Woodson, I have this idea. I said, all right. He said, I'm leaving corporate America. He was a project manager at a very large corporation in Indianapolis. Leaving the job, and I want my sole focus to be on helping Washington Township community. I said, okay. What would you like to do? He said, I'd like to take on poverty in Washington Township. You don't get those kind of meetings very often as superintendent. So what did I do? As superintendent, I put on my superintendent hat and I thought, well, he must need something, right? So I asked him, I said, Tom, what do you need in order to take on poverty in Washington Township? And he said, I need some good thinkers to come around the table with me and create a think tank to get my vision some legs and off the ground. Okay, I can do that. So we provided some staff. I was curious enough to even attend. And we sat around the table for a few months talking about this idea of taking on poverty in Washington Township. As I said in the beginning, 6 out of every 10 of my children qualifies for free and reduced lunch. So there is a lot of poverty in Washington Township. At one of these meetings, he began to talk about this concept, and one of the agencies who was attending, because he brought police around the table, he brought support agencies, and he brought staff around the table, said, well, this is what we're trying to do is kind of like that African proverb that talks about if a spider spins a web by itself, it can't catch much. But if spiders unite, they can tie up a lion. And so that's when Tom came up with the idea to call this group lion catchers. And so now what he has done, not even a year later, is he has agencies on board. He has specialized his idea to one specific area to make a difference there and then hopefully build capacity outward. He does not have that missionary approach of, I'm going to go in and save these people. He wants to go in and empower them and inspire them and then step back so that they are doing this on their own. He's doing this right now. He's writing grants. We have supported him. He's created tutoring in the clubhouses after school. He's supporting the school. He's creating family units. This happened last month. It was a unity walk, the first of its kind for this community. He did not organize the Unity Walk by himself. He empowered others within that community to organize this Unity Walk for themselves. He's created after-school sporting activities and organized activities so the kids have something to do. He's engaged the parents in the community who don't have kids so that they're interacting with kids. He's engaged the police so that the police aren't seen as bad people. And he's doing this on his own because he had an idea. The last picture you see here is the sole goal of this project. He is changing lives in this community, and certainly it's helping our school impact with these students, but he is impacting an entire community simply because he said, it's gotta be right now, and it's gotta be me. He could have said, this is the government's job to take on poverty in this community. He could have said, this is the school's responsibility to assist these families. He said something different. He said, if not now, then when? And if not me, then who? I received a phone call yesterday about Tom. It's from a local media station. They said, we've heard about this lion catcher idea. It's a really, really unique concept. Can we come out and take a look? And we said, absolutely yes. So the media is there today filming Tom, and I'm sure Tom's hiding in the background somewhere, allowing someone else to be up front. But Tom inspires me to think, to do, and to act and be in the presence of right now. So what about you? If not now, then when? And if not you, then who? We are here at this conference for a reason. Perhaps you came for professional reasons, and you're gonna leave in a few days with personal renewal. Perhaps you came for personal reasons. You love Nashville and you wanted to come to Opryland. And maybe in a few days you're gonna leave with professional renewal. The best thing that could happen is in a few days you leave with both, personal and professional renewal. And my sole job today was to leave on your heart, if not now, when, and if not you, then who. We are at the monumental middle level, and it's gotta be you, and it's gotta be now. Why the sense of urgency? Because it's personal for me. It's personal for me for these two reasons. Christian and Christina Woodson. They're coming to a middle school near you soon, and they need courageous change agents in front of them, modeling living life to its fullest. Yes, I want them to have good lessons in front of them. Yes, I want them to have the highest rigor curriculum, but that doesn't matter if the people standing in front of them aren't living to their fullest, aren't living in their now, aren't fulfilling their dreams, their passions. So I leave you with this little exercise. In a few days when you leave from this place, walk away from here better than you came, and always think, if not now, when, and if not you, who. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be at AMLE 2014. Hey, I would like to set a world record for you. Is it all right if I try to set a world record for you? Okay, my world record is 28.7 seconds. No, not for that. Okay. That record is 35.6, yes. Okay, now, what I can do with a two-digit number in 28.7 seconds would boggle the mind. So I need someone, let's say from the front row here, if you would just give me any two-digit number over 30, please. 40. Would you like to change your mind? Happy with the mind that you have? Okay, all right. So we're gonna put a big 40 on the back of the board. This is our target right here. And what I need someone who has a stopwatch that will be willing to time this for me. Does someone have a stopwatch that could time this for me? You have it right here. What I would like you to do is when I tell you to go, you're gonna start the stopwatch, and when it gets to 10 seconds, I want you to yell out, 10, so I kinda know where I am. When it gets to 20 seconds, you can decide what to yell, but hopefully it sounds something like 20, or something like that, okay? So I have 28.7 seconds, and so we're gonna see how fast I can do this. So do you have the stopwatch ready? All right, 40, all right. On your marks, get set, go. Stop. What did I get? 13.41 seconds. I just shaved like 15 seconds off of the world record. Thank you guys very much. Okay. So there's a few things I would like to talk to you. What? Oh, you want to see that? We've known each other for a couple minutes. You don't trust me? Well, all I did was I just tried to see if in 13.41 seconds with a freely called number from the audience, I could just do a couple of rows of add the rows of numbers up to equal to 40. I don't always get it right, but let's just see how I did. So let's see, 11 and 14 is 25, and 5 is 30. That's 40 across there. And 4 and 11 and 10 and 15, that's 30 across there, or 40 across there. And then 12 and 7, that's 19 and 31, and that's 40 across this way. And 13, 8, and 13 and 6, that's 40 across this way in 13.41 seconds. Thank you. Don't patronize me with your clapping. I know what you're really thinking. You're thinking, I wonder if they add up and down too, but you don't want to say anything in case you embarrass the speaker. So let's take a look and see. So that's 11 and 4, that's 15, that's 27 and 30, that's 40 right down this way, and 14, that's 25 right there, and that's 32, and that's 40 this way, and 5 and 15, and 27 and 13, that's 40 down this way, and 10 and 15, 25, 9 and 6, that's 40 down this way. But no, now you're wondering about those diagonals, aren't you? You're wondering about those diagonals. So let's take a look and see. 11, that's 22 right there, that's 33, 34, and that's 40 right this way, and there's 10 and 20, 27 and 13, that's 40 across this way. But no, I don't stop. I came all the way from San Diego to be here with you. So I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm also gonna worry about this box right up here, which is 25, that's 36 and 40 right there, and this box right over here, which is 15 and 30 and 40 right there, and this box right down here, there's a big hint on the back, is 40. All right, and then right here is 12 and 9 and 13 and 6, that's 40 right there. But no, if you're gonna dress like a pirate, you better bring something extra. So I said, in the extra time of my 13.41 seconds with a freely called number from the audience, I will also concern myself with this center section right here. Being 21 and 20, that's 40 right there. But wait, if you're going to keynote at AMLE 2014, then you better bring something real special. So I said, I will also worry about this corner being 11, and this being 21, and this right here being 34, and that being 40. There's over 40 different ways of 40 with a freely called number from the audience in 13.41 seconds. And that's the way we get this thing done. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, I am pumped right now. I am pumped right now. I am pumped right now. Okay, now, I want to talk to you a little about this. In case you did not realize it, this is math. Okay? I know that's an unusual thing to say, but I say that to you because when was the last time you saw someone do math and people broke into applause? One time a woman raised her hand when I said that, and she said, tears, sometimes they cry when I do it. Okay? Okay. So then that begs the question, why did you just all applaud after I did math? I've got a theory on this. I think you applauded because of something I call the third circle. See, I look at teaching as a triple Venn diagram. I think there are 3 interlocking circles. One of those circles is labeled content. We have to have that circle, or we are just entertainers or babysitters, okay? We have to have that circle of content. But there's all sorts of workshops you can go to about your content and about all the stuff that you teach in your classroom. Well, then there's this other interlocking circle, and it's called techniques and methods. And there's all sorts of techniques and methods that we get as we work with our colleagues. We go to conferences, we get our credential programs, all those kind of things. And there's all sorts of workshops you can go to about techniques and methods. But you see, I think there's a third circle that nobody's talking about. And I have an evangelical zeal to go around and talk about. And that third circle is what I label presentation. So yes, you have your content. Yes, you have all these techniques and methods. Now, how are you going to present it in such a way that it's relevant for kids? How are you going to present it in such a way that it draws kids in almost magically and magnetically to what you do? How are you going to present it so that it matters, so that it's engaging? Presentation is the third circle that nobody is talking about. And so let me just give you an example of some of the presentational decisions that I made in what you saw when I came out. So first, I made a presentational decision. I said, I'm gonna set a world record for you. Are you ready to see a world record? I didn't say, I'm gonna come out and do this little math thing for you. I said, I want to set a world record, so it's positioned immediately. Then I said, in fact, here's my time, 28.7 seconds. And you know what? We have a clock ticking over here. 10, oh, the little pressure is 10 seconds already, all right? So now we have another little thing that's just adding to like, ooh, I wonder if he's gonna make his 28.7 seconds. That's a presentational decision. And then here's what I did. I didn't say, all right, watch. I have to write these numbers so they add up to 40 across here, but I also have to think about how they're interacting with these numbers right here. And I also consider, no, I went like this. Now, what are you thinking? What is he doing back there, right? Mystery, curiosity, what wonderful things to have in a classroom, right? So what is he doing back? So a presentational decision to not show you. And then a presentational decision, I didn't go, look, they add up all these different ways. I went, thank you. And what did you say? No, no, no. You are not moving on. Show us. Well, now, just with presentational decisions, the whole situation has been flipped. I'm not trying to show you something. You're demanding that I show it to you. Now, you're saying, no, I want to see that thing, which of course I want to show you anyway, right? Okay, and then I downplayed, presentational decision, I downplayed what I did. I'm just trying to get the numbers to add up across like this. Okay, thank you. And then waited for you guys to be so polite, which you were. And like, oh, okay. No. And then I got more and more ramped up and excited as I showed you increasing levels of complexity of what I accomplished in 13.41 seconds with the number that she yelled out, right? Ending with what I think is going to finally be the most surprising of all. The corners even add up, and then breaking it over my knee, throwing it down, and then turning to you like this. And at that point, if you don't applaud, well, you're kind of rude, okay? But it's been built to that climactic point all through a whole series of presentational decisions. In fact, this is the second piece I do in my professional magic show. Like if I get booked to do a magic show instead of a teaching workshop, that's the second piece I do. In other words, I get paid to do math, but only because of the presentational decisions that are wrapped around it. You are the set designer. You are the director, producer, choreographer. You are the sound tech of your show in your classroom. You see, I drive teachers crazy when I work with them with lessons. I ask them so many questions. I say, well, are the lights on or off when they're walking in the room? And they're like, well, what's written on the board? What do you have written on the board? Is there anything shining on the screen right now? What's the musical selection that's playing as they walk into the room? And they're like, well, what are you talking about? So help me out with this. Like, are the handouts already out by the time that they get in? Or are you, at this point, are you going to have to stop and give the handout? Do they have a pen or pencil in their hand at this point? I just need to know these kind of things. And then they just say like, stop, wait, hold on a second. I don't decide all these things. Like, I don't decide if the lights are on or off when they walk in the room. And I say, yes, you do. You do decide if the lights are on or off when they walk in the room, because the lights were either on or off when they walked in, didn't they? Weren't they? So you either decided that or you abdicated responsibility for that decision, right? And they're like, oh God, I can't decide. But see, in and of themselves, all of these things seem small. Right? Each little individual decision we make in our classroom, it seems small, but they're not in and of themselves. They build upon each other. They stack on top of each other to create what kind of experience you're going to create for your students, right? Don't just teach a lesson, create an experience for kids. Lessons are easily forgotten, but experiences live forever. So these individual decisions that seem so small and tiny, they can be haphazardly thrown together to create a threadbare blanket of boredom, or they can be intentionally woven into a beautiful, rich quilt of engagement, depending on how you stitch it. Control all aspects of your environment to make school amazing for kids. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much.
All right, what a way to start the day. What a way to start your AMLE 2014 conference. right, all right. Look at that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your passion, the teaching strategies, the humor, the purpose-driven mission. It's all there. Let's give a round of applause to our speakers and to the students who brought them up here. Because obviously all the wonderful stuff that our four speakers brought to us this morning, all of it that illuminated what we do, we have to remember who we do it for and who we serve. So thank you so much for everything that you do every day. So thank you everyone out there. Thank you so much for coming this morning. Thanks for everything you do. As we say at AMLE, and if you know it, we reach every student, grow professionally, and create great schools. So please enjoy your first day of your AMLE 2014 annual conference. Thank you so much.